My work leans heavily into social commentary and environmental work in the tradition of pop art and poster artists, and I'm also a big fan of street artists, so my work kind of is a combination of all of those things. There's just so many different things that were super attractive about the project and exciting for me to even partake in the workshop piece, let alone to have the opportunity to do the mural.
The printmaking by the people, I mean, even just in the title of Printmaking by the People, the idea is that this is not a project that was created in an incubator. You're not going to just see a mural at the end of the project.
We wanted to explore what some of the critical ideas in the values section of the Declaration of Independence meant to different people with different life experiences, different walks of life from different areas.
This is something that we actually fought for and people died for. And over that period of time, things changed. Some things for the best and some things not.
In the course of this project, we've organized upwards of 40 workshops where people came, really drilling down on the phrase that all people are given the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So the conversations were about what that means to people. How do they feel that those ideas have empowered their lives? Where do they feel like those ideas have come up short? If they had a chance to start over with the Declaration of Independence, what rights would they include in the Declaration? Those were the prompts that people responded to. The artists developed different kinds of printmaking processes through which people can make posters to express their ideas.
The workshops that I did with Mural Arts usually involved letterpress printing. We saw a lot of repeated themes centering around like healthcare, access to housing, clean water, clean air, all of those really important communal resources that we all share.
I interacted with a lot of people who had very profound things to say and people who weren't expecting to be spending their Saturday making art or thinking about the Declaration of Independence in this moment. A lot of the pop-ups, like with Philadelphia Volunteer Lawyer for the Arts at Rec Philly, the Cherry Street Pier pop-up at their flea market, the Love Park pop-up for Mural Arts Fest in 2024, and then the Oval in 2025. They've been really powerful because you just get such a diverse range of people across Philadelphia.
It just felt like a way to giving the people a voice, you know.
It gave me a sense of hope to see people from, different ages, races, walks of life gather together to look more deeply at this document and have a discussion amongst us as to what it means now in 2025.
I think one of the things that came up for me and that I had coming up with other folks in the workshop was the way in which the language of this document in this moment of the semi-sesquicentennial is both very timely and also in it we can see the roadmap of how we have arrived in so many moments of injustice. It really sort of contains the whole thing within it.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, or I should say, and the pursuit of happiness. So that's the original phrase. And the idea that truths are self-evident, that struck me, and I have a lot of questions, shall I say, about that. And then among these are, it indicates actually a little bit of an open-endedness to it, that the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness are only among the other unalienable truths.
When we began exploring what the artistic side of this project would be, we were obviously influenced by the history of posters and broadsides and newspapers as one of the main ways of communicating in revolutionary times. Poster making, in particular, is a genre that has thrived ever since. Even today, in some of our workshops, we have looked at eras of poster making from the WPA, from the 1960s and 70s.
When we selected the mural designer, we were looking for specifically a printmaker who could look through all of the work that had been done over the last 2 years and synthesize it into one design. And so what we're seeing is a mural that is not the work of just one artist. It is rather the work of all of the people of Philadelphia that have participated in this project, and the artist is just using themselves as a way to put it out for the world to see.
It's been very interesting to really look through everything and sort of see just things that people want. It's very personal, and I kind of feel that as I'm looking through the body of work. I am a printmaker. I'm actually specifically a screen printer.
I went to the Portland, Oregon Art Museum, and they had a big Andy Warhol retrospective upstairs. And then in the basement, they had Corita Ken. It just blew my mind. So she was a nun who taught screen printing in the 60s out in LA at a very progressive school, and started doing work about the 60s, right? Like, Martin Luther King and the Kennedys and all that stuff. Very social conscious stuff. So I saw her work and I was just like, oh, that's cool. And as somebody who has graphic design and, has that background, oh, she's using words and pictures together, and it's all screen printed. So I think that was what implanted the seed. Since then, I am hooked, totally. I started thinking about the people that I was meeting at these workshops, and really they were asking for us to listen to them, to hear what they had to say, to see what they wanted seen through the poster making process. And so that's when in my mind I was driving and I switched the words from we hold to behold. And that kind of became an anchor for this process. Everybody used words in some form or fashion. Almost, I would say 99% of the posters had some words on them. So that was the very first step that I took with them, was to start writing down all the things that people had to say, making a list that wound up being 8 pages. It was very important to me to not just, look at those and sort of say, oh, people are talking about this issue or that issue and just sort of my interpretation of it, but actually include the actual words from the posters. So that was really an important part of the process, and it was something that I just wanted to make sure was in the final design.
One of the most beautiful things about this project is the array that was explored and created before the actual finished piece was even made and thought of. And so I think that energy and what makes this type of mural so unique is all the voices that led to this.
I hope when people see the mural that were part of the workshop, they feel, connected to the larger body of work. They see that they were heard, that they're seen, but also that they're part of a big conversation that was happening through this process, and that we're listening to them, and that they'll feel pride, that they informed this. This is as much about, it's not really about me. I'm fortunate to be the person designing the mural, but it's really about what Philadelphia has to say at this moment in time.
In addition to the fact that we are going to have a mural that will be put up at the end of this multi-year process. The exhibit that is at the Free Library is a collection of the voices of people of Philadelphia that have been working on this project over the last 2 years.
Basically every neighborhood is represented, right? And so the process has been sort of this iterative one in which we're able to think about how best to represent, and then to have visitors both from near and far engage with those materials this summer and really think about this 250th anniversary.
Around the library are displays and examples of the various different types of printmaking that have been used, which are many different, from cyanotype to mimeograph to linocut, as well as different individual touches by artists that instructed their communities in the printmaking workshops.
The intersection of muralism and printmaking is one that a lot of individual artists explore on their own, but I don't think it's ever been explored at Mural Arts as the actual basis of a project.
A project like this that challenges people, that asks people, that says, here, please help us create work that is about democracy, that is about our world. I see a direct line between posters, prints, and muralism. Part of it is about social justice, part of it is about politics, part of it is about how people think and feel, and part of it is just about our very right to speak the truth and represent ourselves and have that rise to the top and be seen and heard.
Here's the past and the things that we haven't gotten right. Here are the things that we might be able to do differently in the future to make an America that lives up to those ideals, but by changing some of the sort of phrasing that's in the Declaration to make it more inclusive, it's taking that initial idea and making it the thing that it really always could have been.
This project reminds us that art has power and that all of us as individuals have something to contribute, and by contributing, we're making the world a better place.